Let's flow. Let's connect and flow. So welcome to the shift. This space is created with intention, with care. Lived experiences are here. Welcome everyone to Soulutions Workshop Series Part 6. Today we are diving into universal law of circulation. We're diving into cause, effect, exchange, and return. And we're going to bring this into real life, workplace, into the business, into the roles we choose or we felt we were called into. Because everything out there is not always told in truth. And today we're going to slow it down and get honest with alignment. The law of circulation can look different depending on where you stand. For some, it feels like mindset. For some, it feels spiritual. For others, it looks like economics or systems. But no matter how you approach circulation, it's movement. The movement of money, the movement of effort, the movement of value, the movement of cause into effect. Circulation works differently with the law, or directly, actually, with the law of cause and effect. Every cause sets something into motion. Every motion produces a return, and every return reveals what first was released. Physics calls it reaction. Spiritual law calls it return. Business calls it outcome. But the pattern is the same. What you sow, you reap. You don't get back what you wish for. You get back what you consistently circulate. So let's jump in to circulation in the workplace, because that's what we're talking about. The workplace, being an entrepreneur, being a first-time buyer of a business, being a jack of all trades, wearing all the hats, and even diving into your personal relationship with life. Single parent, parents trying to maneuver children growing from always listening to now having their own mind, and how you want to navigate that. The law of circulation is in every aspect of that. Why? Because it is constantly moving, regardless of whether you are aware of it or not, regardless of you believe in it or not. It is always active. And you certainly don't have to utilize it. Or at least don't think that you're utilizing it. It's okay. Why? Because that's part of free will choice. But nonetheless, it still vibrates, it still moves, and it still creates for you, just in a different manner, right? So we're going to start with, of course, an employee. We're going to just think about it like this. An employee who circulates, and we're talking about circulation in the workplace, an employee who circulates initiative, integrity, solutions, collaborations, creates a cause. And the effect is trust, opportunity, expansion. These are infinite possibilities of the effect. Now let's look at an employee who circulates minimal effort. They just come to work and they don't do much of anything. They don't pull their own weight. They allow other people to do for them, and then they take the credit of those other co-workers, right? So they complain. They're always in the complaint vibration. They withhold their knowledge. because they don't want to give it freely and cooperate or collaborate, right? They want to hoard it. They resist being told to do anything, even if it's by their employer or manager or CEO. They resist it because they're in, oh, woe is me, I'm a victim mode. Okay. So this creates a cause. It's part of the universal law. What you put out, it comes back. And the effect, possible stagnation, possible limited advancement, possible reduced influence. Will Durant summarized Aristotle. He said, Aristotle said, what we repeatedly do, excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So if you repeatedly do excellence, it becomes habit. If you repeatedly withhold knowledge or do minimal effort, that becomes habit as well. In my 40 years of working, I had to learn, because I stayed in a group of wannabe people that wanted to be victims, woe is me, and I got exactly what I put out until I started learning about the laws, the universal laws, and putting them into action. I'm not going to say everything turned out perfectly, but I started to see the difference. Right? What we repeatedly do, if it's excellence, then it is not an act, but a habit. But the same energy of withholding knowledge can be a habit too. Repeated behavior circulates identity, and identity produces return. This is the law of circulation. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This is infinite possibilities. There's a lot more to learn about the law of circulation that I have not even dived into. Okay? But what I found is that the law of the universe is on your side. It's got your back. But it needs you to point out what you need from it, what you desire from it. Not just place it in your wish bucket, but take that wish and show it, the universe, what you want it to look like, what you want it to feel like, what you want it to taste like. What type of employee do you want to be? From here, it looks like you have many choices of what type of employee you want to be, because what you put out, you get back. So let's talk about the circulation in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs live and die by circulation. If you circulate inconsistency, you receive instability. If you circulate clarity, you receive aligned clients or clientele or customers. If you're undercharging because of fear, you're circulating under undervaluation. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. That was a statement by Warren Buffett. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. I learned that by taking my preteen and teenagers shopping all the time. We would always go to the sale rack. And the sale rack, it wasn't their thing. They weren't in for getting more bang for your buck. They wanted one quality piece that they could piece together with what they already had. They taught me that. Mom, if you're always going to the sale rack, that if your thought process is that, then that's always what the universe will give you. If you're always waiting for the sale rack and your money to meet, then I would always complain, well, when that goes on sale, we'll get it. How come sales don't happen when I have the money? Right? That's kind of being a, life is shitting on me for me in that thought process. But I learned that my teachers were my kids who didn't know law of circulation. They were just teaching me out of the mouth of babes. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. When value and price are misaligned, distortions are always going to enter the system, whatever your system is you're going by. Even if you've got a budget, that's a system, right? Distorted systems collapse over time, right? The first law of thermodynamics. I learned this in science, right? Energy cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed. It can only be transformed. And even with science knowing that, they still bump up against spiritual guidelines because they need it to be proven. And that's okay. Money is stored energy. This is the law of thermodynamics. Time is applied energy. Yes? Skill is refined energy. Whatever energy you release into the marketplace, into your corporation, into your mom and pop business, into your employee field that you are working within, whatever department you're working within, it transforms and it returns to you as form. So if you're a first-time entrepreneur, you should. I'm not going to tell you you have to do anything. I eventually had to go inward because I was dropped in to trying to start my own business and did all the paperwork and did everything. It looked good on paper and it looked, everything was looking good. Got to the part about marketing and had to get real with myself. I didn't know anything about that. I had to go inward and go, do I even want to know that? Do I even want to struggle with not knowing or not having enough money to get somebody to market for me? I was taking the free sessions, but they weren't teaching me really the meat and potatoes. What they were teaching me with was just enough so that they could come in and sell me a session. So I had to put it on a back burner. Now, I didn't know if that was what the divine wanted me to do. It didn't get pushed back onto the front burner until about 2019 or right after we all got, were told to stay in, stay in place. And the job that I had, it was, I had just did a year, right? And celebrating that, and they sent us all home. Now, the job was great, guys. They sent us home with computers and information and files, and their expectation was they were going to survive. They were going to move through this. Their expectation was the stay in place was not going to be that long, that they could kind of maneuver through. And when it started to look like that was not the process, last hired, first fired. So I had to pull that business out of mothballs or from the back burner and try to make sense of it. That meant that I had to dive into the difference between employee and and a business owner. What was inside me that said that I could do this? I hadn't dived into that. I knew that I liked being an employee, having my, 2 to 3 paychecks a month, and paid vacation, and my medical benefits for my kids, so that I could pay my rent in a timely manner, and I could take my kids on vacations, and I could purchase things that they needed, not just for school, but after school facts, their dance classes, all those things. But I didn't know if I had it in me to start a company and make that my bread and butter, that there were going to be days or months where there might not be enough money to make rent. But that's part of owning a business, because some of the time you have to wait to break even. But having done accounts receivable and collections in the accounting department for almost over 40 years, I learned that there's more to being a first-time entrepreneur or first-time business owner, that sometimes you have to wear all the hats. That's an internal question that you have to ask yourself. Do I have what it takes to wear all the hats? Do I know what it takes to wear all the hats? Because all these people that are telling you that you being an employee, you're just giving your life away to corporations and blah, blah, blah. They're not telling you the full meat and potatoes. They're giving you a view, but they're not giving you a full panoramic view, so that you can decide who, number one, you want to be, and number two, where you want to take that, right? Whatever energy you release into a marketplace, whether it's your marketplace or someone else's, that transforms and returns to you, because you've released it in some type of form. It manifests, it becomes. There's a lot more that we can dive into, but I'm just giving you a little bit. What I learned that, yes, I wouldn't mind owning my own business, but I first, number one, found out I already did accounts receivable and collections for 40 years. I don't want my company to be that, but I don't mind it being where I can teach first-time mom and pops, in seminars, how to utilize the laws of attraction, how to utilize the universal laws, how to go within and ask personal questions to themselves what they want, if this is what they want. Yes, I would love to have a business like that. Do I want to manage employees? No, I don't. You see, infinite possibilities, right? So let's talk about hoarding versus flow. And you can hoard as a employee. You can hoard as a manager. You can hoard as a first-time business owner. You can hoard as a corporate CEO. You can hoard, and then you can allow flow. Hoarding interrupts systems. I have a friend from a long time ago that she is stuck on her budgets and not spending money, and she, when she goes to look at new jobs, how much money is she going to make versus how happy will she be? Okay. And hoarding money that she might not take a vacation because it just really, really cost too much, but she really would have enjoyed it. Or she finds it at a reduced rate, but she'll wait and wait and wait till it can get more reduced, more reduced, more reduced. How about some flow? Okay, so hoarding interrupts systems. In economics, stagnant flow or capital flow slows growth. In biology, stagnant blood creates, let's call it, dis-ease or disease. In organizations, stagnant leadership suffocates innovation. Bruce Lee said, life is the movement of energy. Do you remember when he said that? Movement sustains vitality. When you get older, and some of you that are listening probably aren't there, but when you start to move into your latter 40s or your 50s or 60s, sometimes you stop doing the vibrational body work that you used to do. You slow it down. Who knows? Maybe you slow it down because the information that you were given from a very young age is when you get old, you stop doing things. Movement sustains vitality. Hoarding says there is not enough. When hoarding says there's not enough, what is the universe going to do? And especially if you're continuously thinking that there is not enough, the universe is going to say, let it be so. So it's going to open up situations, circumstances, conversations that say there is not enough. Circulation says there is replenishment through movement. My needs are always met. There is more than enough for every need to always be met. So every morning you wake up saying, I am thankful and grateful that my needs are being met in a timely, effortlessly manner. And then your brain power and your body look for that. Yes, no, maybe. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. There is replenishment in movement, and that includes your body healing itself. Nature does not hurry. Nature doesn't hurry. It takes its own sweet time. Nature flows. I believe it was Lao Tu. I think I might be pronouncing it correctly, but maybe not. Lao, and his last name is Tzu. It says that nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Nature knows exactly what it's doing. It flows. It doesn't have time to hoard. It just goes with the flow. When it's time for leaves to fall from the trees, the leaves just fall. When it's time for the seasons to change, the seasons just change. There's nothing to hoard. It makes room. Right? And flow is continuously happening. You even flow while you're sleeping. So if you're getting up in the morning and your shoulders are up like this because you're tensed about going to work, you have to go do the inner work. Why am I like this? What about my job if I'm an employee? What about my work office at home if I'm I take care of my business from home, my business, or I'm working from home, because now I'm working from home. I did it to accommodate me being a single parent, and that way my kids can be at home. But is it conducive to you to be at home working while you're taking care of your kids? Are they a distraction? Should they be in daycare? Maybe even part-time. Are you wearing too many hats? Maybe you're hoarding your time. Maybe the too many hats are a way of you hoarding. Infinite possibilities. You have to go within and choose which one is the culprit within you. And the only way to transform it or alchemize it is know that it exists. Right? Let's talk about, teams and corporations and multiplication. You go, what? I went, what, too? But I worked for 4 corporations. I worked for 4 companies that started as mom and pop companies and that rose to corporate status and then sold. Okay. And we had teams, and we had all the different values of a company or corporations. No system scale is without circulation. If employees circulate labor, entrepreneurs circulate vision, corporations circulate infrastructure and opportunity. If leadership hoards authority, growth will slow. People will say, what? Employees will say, what? Because they will feel the vibration of mindlessness. If leaders hoard authority, growth slows. Because they're not putting out the information that they are supposed to be managing to everybody that needs that information for the workflow to flow. If profit is extracted without reinvesting, loyalties decline. If you're taking the money from your company and you're not reinvesting it in your company, in your employees, but you're taking it all to pay, to pay your mortgage, to pay this, to pay that, to build other things, but you're not putting anything back into the corporation that you have or the business that you have. A lot of people with 2019 and losing their job had to start little jobs so that they could make money to pay rent or to pay school tuitions or to continue the things and lifestyle that they had, but they weren't learning how to do that correctly, because in order to be a business that is in the black versus being in the red, before you pay yourself, you have to set up accounts receivable and a general ledger and accounts payable. And all these things have to be done. So at the end of everything being in this spreadsheet, you can see if you're in the black or the red. And see what you need to put back into your business to keep the business making you some money so that you can pay your rent. Now, here's the other thing. If employees withhold contributions, culture can deteriorate. Aristotle said, "The whole is greater than the sum of its parts." I know everybody's heard that before. I've heard that before, right? Multiplication requires exchange. Exchange requires trust. And trust requires integrity in what it circulates. Let me say that again. Multiplication requires exchange. Exchange requires trust. And trust requires integrity in whatever it circulates. I mean, wow. Okay. So we got about 15, 20 minutes. Let's talk about cause and effect, the precision of return. Because part of this law of circulation is about putting out and getting a return. They're intertwined. They collaborate with each other. They build upon each other. It's energy. Let's talk about the precision of return. The law of circulation is not sentimental. It's energy. It's looking for you to create with it. It's a precise tool. You circulate resentment, guess what you're going to get? Most likely, you will receive some type of friction. You circulate discipline, you might get stability. You circulate generosity, you might receive expansion. You might receive more of something that you've been wanting, because the universe says, oh, that's a giver. And if the giver is open to receiving, then the universe says, all right, let's open the floodgates. Infinite possibilities. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I got a quote from ChatGPT when I was asking it a question, and it said, Marcus Aurelius quoted that the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Essentially, from what I say, we are the creator. I'm always saying that. The creator is within. We have to know us and what we truly, really want. We're very used to people telling us who we are and what we should be. It starts at a very, very young age. It's not that our parents are at fault. They're doing what they know. What they know might not be for the highest and greatest good of your growth and expansion, but nonetheless, they're doing the best they can with what they know. So when you go within to start changing or transforming or alchemizing your life process, it might be that everything is going to get uprooted. Change is going to happen. Change is the only constant in all of the universe. Change is always promised, no matter what. Right? Internal circulation becomes external experiences or manifestations. And no one escapes cause and effect. Not employees, not entrepreneurs, not corporations, and not individuals navigating life. Let's take a pause on that. Not even nature escapes cause and effect. Nature pulls it in. That's why we have the seasons. That's why we have the tides. Okay. Life is growth, expansion. Life is evolution. Now, somebody tells you, oh, you need to go stop being an employee. You don't like getting up and going to work and whatnot. Go own a business. If you're going to think about it, really think about it. I'm not going to tell you to meditate if meditating isn't your way, but definitely start internalizing who you are and what you really want. Because if you don't like working as an employee with other co-workers, then you're certainly not going to want to open your own business and then work with employees. If managing people is not your forte, then you're not going to want to do that. If wearing too many hats as an employee isn't your cup of tea, then wearing too many hats as a first-time business owner is not going to work for you either. You're bringing all this from one place to another. Think about it. All I want you to do is think about it. Right? Reflect. Let's talk about reflection. Where am I interrupting flow? Are you already interrupting flow? Are you in a good flow already? And somebody's about to change that flow because they've made a decision from where they are about what they believe you should do because they did it too. You get to ask yourself, am I withholding effort? When I go to work, am I not doing my part? Am I holding back? Am I afraid of clean exchange? Well, if I give something out, that means somebody else is going to grow. I don't want them to look better than me. Is that what you're holding? Then the universe is going to make sure that your portion that comes back is not going to be fulfilled as vibrant as if you were giving from your heart. You were helping your employee finish her report because you already finished yours, and her part isn't finished, but her part has to be finished in order for the whole project to blossom. But you don't want to help her because then that might not that she might shine and you might not. I'm just saying, I've worked with certain people like that, right? You can ask, am I clinging to control instead of multiplying through others? As a supervisor or a manager, are you trying to control everybody and micromanage everybody in order for you to look the best you can look? These are internal questions that you as an employee, that you as a first-time buyer, first-time owner, or owning a corporation, or owning a standalone business, or whatever, or owning a lemonade stand, right? Am I clinging to control or instead of multiplying others? Multiplying others means helping them grow. And with you helping them grow, it multiplies you growing because the universe says, oh, Sandra likes to help others. So let's give her the easiest route for her to finish what she's finishing so she can extend a helping hand. You can ask yourself, am I expecting return without measurable cause? Are you expecting a return without putting anything in? The law of circulation collaborates with the law of cause and effect. You do not need to reap randomly. You reap specifically. What you put in, you get back. What you circulates returns. Right? What you circulate returns. At the end of the day, the law of circulation isn't just something that I've studied. It's actually, I had to put it into action. I had to step into it. So actually, I had to live it. I'm still living it. I had to learn that it not only worked for me as an employee, but as a single mother, as a sister, as a daughter, as a friend, as a colleague, as Soul Awakening with Sandra, as the Soul Awakening podcast series, as Star Meditations and Light Language, as Soul Awakening Conversations emerge and flow. I've seen what happens when I open my hands and I give with integrity, when I circulate with effort, when I move with love, when I move with responsibility and fair exchange. I have also seen what happens when I've held back. I've been the person who chose quantity over quality. like I told you, the sales rack. I've played it small. Right? Other seasons, some seasons taught me to resist. This law isn't about getting it right every time. It's not about it trying to prove you wrong. It's saying what you put out, it's going to give back. It's about becoming aware of what we are sending out. We are the receiver and we are the transmitter. What we transmit, we receive back. I know I'm still refining this, but I know this: when we circulate from a place of, as best we can, honesty, as best we can, responsibility, and as best we can, service, life responds in a way that helps us extend and expand and enjoy our journeys. Think about that. I implore you to think about that. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If this isn't your page and you've listened to everything and you don't like it, I am not going to hold you accountable to keep any of this information. Just listen to it. Let it mull around in there. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't here in this podcast. Somebody else will pick the energy up and run with it, right? As we close today, this episode, right? I invite you to sit with one simple question. I know my question was, what am I constantly putting in motion? That was my question. But one simple question for you. Because circulation never stops. It is constantly moving. That's the universe. Energy moves. Efforts move. Money moves. Words move. Attention moves. And what we move outwardly shapes what eventually returns to us. And this happens whether you're an employee, whether you're a first-time owner of a business or an entrepreneur, whether you're part of a corporation or simply navigating your personal journeys. This law is working. It's not judging you. It's not favoring anyone. It's simply responding to the energy that you put out. You are the transmitter and the receiver. So that leads us to our next conversation in episode 7. Because once we understand that energy or that energy circulates, the next question becomes, where is my attention going? We will focus on expansion. And we repeatedly think about what we repeatedly think about shapes our external experiences, right? So that's going to be the law of attention, episode 7. How we focus direct energy, how distraction can drain our power, and how intention or being intentional or being aware can completely change the direction of our life or lives. So until next time, take what resonates. Reflect on what is circulating around you, within you, what is moving out from you and coming back as manifested uh, physical, tangible life, right? So I want you to grow and expand. I can't make you grow and expand. My spiritual intention and vibration is for you to grow and expand. That your soul does not take a break when you go to work. It does not take a break when you're doing something that's extraneous. Your soul is with you 24/7. It's learning about you through the situations and circumstances and conversations that you're having. It's learning through all the operating systems that you're internalizing or that you're releasing. So until next time, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and grow, expand, and evolve. I'll see you on episode 7. Take care. Wholeness and balanced love to you and yours. Peace.